Have you ever experienced confusion from a mystical experience, like a dream or a deep psychedelic trip, or something of that nature? Has anyone ever shared with you stories that you were completely unable to relate with? It might be that many have had unique experiences that they are unable to make sense of, and then attempt to relay that to others. Yet, sometimes, when we share without fully having integrated the experience, we run the risk of causing a lot of confusion. I know that personally, I've done this. Several years ago, after a particularly interesting psychedelic journey, I published a video saying that the actress Emma Watson was something called the Christ Sophia right here on this channel. Today, and in light of our upcoming Christ Consciousness Spirit Science series, I feel it right to speak to my account of this and to hold myself accountable. As an influencer and thought leader, I'm getting better at knowing what to share, when to share it, and in accordance with that which benefits and relates with and is valuable to everyone. Up until recently, I didn't have a metric by which I could deduce that, and so sometimes I shared things before they were ready or said things that didn't need to be said, all the while thinking that I was doing the right thing. But when I look back and I saw these expressions for what they were, I realized something. It seemed to me that what so many of us are doing, what we're all looking to do in our own ways, is find ways to relate with other people about the most complicated things in life, especially those things that are hard to convey or express. I mean, isn't that what most of us truly want? The feeling to be safe enough to make mistakes and still be accepted for who we are? Aren't we all seeking to express ourselves, even if we don't fully understand ourselves? In fact, sometimes it's the expressing of the things we do not understand and the making of mistakes that allows us to find ourselves in the first place. So years ago, I published a video in which I shared some visions that I had in an ayahuasca ceremony. I described that I had met Emma Watson in some visions, and she was incredibly kind and supportive to me. I saw her in the highest possible light and was moved very deeply. I felt whole in a way that I had never felt before, and as a foolish child might do, I rushed into trying to tell the whole world about it. However, when it comes to such experiences, especially those in regards to psychedelics, it's always more appropriate to take the time for proper integration. A Tao you can explain is not the eternal Tao after all, and I can see clearly that it would have been far wiser for me to have taken a different approach, such as seeking counsel from someone who might be able to help me understand what this experience really meant. It could have been that such visions were an invitation for me to overcome my own self-deprecation. In truth, for the me that I was back then, to consider that someone like Emma Watson might want to say hello to someone like me was at the time impossible. I had come to hate myself after some severely traumatizing experiences that I had gone through. And so, after having a few of these visions, not knowing what to do about it, having no way of contacting her, and feeling very confused, my attempt to resolve it was to make a video, which was both a rejection of myself and whatever these visions meant. Yet, in that hasty expression, I did everyone a disservice, because not only was my expression born of a lesser part of my psyche, it was also inaccurate. The divine light is found in everyone, whether dormant or shining. And while this is also true for Emma Watson, someone who clearly cares greatly for humanity and has put a lot of effort into making the world a better place, by saying she was the Christ Sophia without a proper understanding of what that meant was confusing for everyone. Seriously, I feel like I put my foot in my mouth and then kicked her in the face with it. While I've considered simply letting it go forever, it feels like the lessons that I'm learning now may be valuable for others who could be struggling with the same thing. And I hope that if this rectification can resolve even one person's confusion, or stop someone else from making the same mistake that I did, it's worth sharing. The whole issue ultimately boiled down to a mixing up of a few different core concepts. By saying anybody is explicitly the Christ Sophia misidentifies the term and sets that person up for an impossible standard. Christ Sophia really means the wisdom of Christ, and I had a few crossed wires in my understanding too, mixing things up with Christ consciousness, a state when humanity or an individual embodies truth, love, and authenticity as the highest virtues. It's something that I'm passionate about because a lot of the ideas we've explored in spirit science revolve around our species moving into this state collectively and living together in peace, wisdom, and harmony. And so, what I was perceiving in Emma, and then rushed into speaking about, was that wisdom, through her, touched my heart and really helped me to evolve and grow as a person up until the point when the inner conflict became too great. But what I said, and the way that I said it, seeming to express her as the exclusive embodiment of the highest divinity, wasn't exactly appropriate. Emma is a living soul, one who has reflected a myriad of personalities for the world to reflect upon itself. And while so many people may see her as an idol, or someone to be admired, or not, she is a person like you and me. And like all of us, she does not deserve to be told that she is excluded from the opportunity to embody the highest of virtues. That's true for everyone. No one is excluded, and no one person should be elevated to a place that makes others feel beneath them. When that happens, we run the risk of failing to embody that which we admire the most in others. For if Emma, or anyone for that matter, has ever felt the weight of the world, felt lost in shadow and in need of a word of confirmation, I hope they can know that it's not too late. All of us can embody these highest qualities of wisdom and virtue that we feel deep within us. And when we do, life becomes joyous in every dimension. As I learned the hard way, a tiny shift in understanding, a bit of restraint, and a word of advice can all go a long way in preventing disaster. And while I feel I may have caused disaster by making that video in the first place, I pray that everyone can come to forgive me. I only want to see the very best for humanity, and I never want to mislead or confuse anyone. And so in closing, perhaps we can reframe this whole thing. When it comes to embodying wisdom, why not Emma Watson? What if Emma Watson? And if not, then who? Could it be you? Could it be me? Will it be all of us? Or will it only be a few? These are the questions that we should ask. Thanks for watching.